So if you have underdeveloped glutes that you wish were bigger and looked better, or if you have the side effects of dysfunction like low back pain or hip pain that comes from having underdeveloped glutes, then you gotta watch this video, because I'm gonna help you to activate those underactive glutes that you have right now and then also develop their strength. Now, we have to target the right muscles, and a lot of us will target this muscle right here, and that's the glute max. But what you're really likely missing is development and tone of the glute medius, which is this muscle that lays underneath. So the way we target it is two specific ways. You literally can take just these two moves, do them once each day, and start to make a really big impact. And for those that don't want to do them on the ground, I'm going to show you a way you could do them standing. So the first thing you want to do is get on your side like this, and then you're going to take your leg and put it in front of your body, okay, in this flexed state of the hip. In this position, the way to attack the glute medius specifically is to internally rotate the hip. And the way you can do that simply is to just try to point the toe down into the ground, like stab it down into the ground. With this leg straight and out in front, then all you have to do is simply lift that leg up as high as you can. And right away you should feel it right in this muscle. That is the glute medius. And again, it doesn't matter how many times you squat or how many times you lunge or how many times you deadlift. You're not training this muscle, you're training the glute maximus. Here, you want to get this internal rotation or rotational component to really target this extremely weak muscle in most of us. And for those that always say, I can't feel a good contraction back there. When you can't feel it, that's oftentimes one of the main reasons why you can't develop it. This is a great way to do that. So you do as many repetitions as you can from that position. I mentioned there's two moves you can do from here, and both of them are important. So now you want to get your hip back into extension behind you, okay? But if I were to lift the leg from here, what's likely going to happen is your body's going to want to roll, right? Because the weight of your leg is going to want to pull your body back into this position, and you're immediately going to shift that focus away from the glute medius into that front side hip muscle, which is the hip flexor. And you don't need to do much more development of that muscle because it's already likely overdeveloped. So for this one, you want to just get a little bit more flat onto the ground. Pull your chest down towards the ground a little bit more like that. Now you put your hip back into extension. And instead of pointing the toe down, this time you want to point the toe up as much as you can. And then lift from there. And this will just light you up. Lift up and squeeze. You'll get it right into this area, that weakness right there. Again, trying to turn the toe as much as you can and rotate the hip. But doing it from this extended hip position back behind midline. Lift up. It's back behind you. Lift up. And this, again, will light you up. And I'm only doing 5 or 6 repetitions here, and it's really, really challenging. It just goes to show you how weak these muscles can be, even if you're doing a lot of heavy leg work, right? So you do as many as you can, both with the foot in front of the body and the foot behind the body. Now, if you don't want to do these laying down, maybe you're in an office, there's something else you can do in standing. All right, so now in standing, I actually think that there's some additional benefits from this position than there are laying down, and especially the convenience of it if you don't want to be having to lay down in the middle of the day somewhere. So what we do is we just get ourselves up against the wall. And with the wall being used for support and support only, you're going to take your leg and you're going to do some leg swings. All right, and what we're doing though is we're doing it in a very specific way. First thing we have to do if we're trying to recreate what we did on the ground is get that leg out in front of the body or into this hip flexion. Okay, then what we're going to do is we're going to lift the leg up, but at the same time, turn the toe down. Right, so we're going for that same idea of that toe stabber down, but we're keeping the leg in front of the body. And from here, you're getting an additional benefit that you may not have noticed or really know to even think about. And it's what's happening to not just this leg, but the down leg. And what's happening with the down leg is we're getting abduction of the hip. And the muscle that's responsible for that shifting of the hip side to side is the glute medius on the down leg. So you want to allow your hip to drop as the leg comes down the swing, and then as you go back up for the swing on this leg, you want to slide your hips back across this way, lifting with that glute medius and glute medius only. And you'll feel it contract on both sides. So again, looking from this direction, I let myself drop on that outside leg, and then I lift up and turn the foot down, sliding the hips over and contracting on this side and of course contracting on this side. So that's the benefit that we're not getting when we're doing this exercise down on the ground. And once again, you'd only have to do this once a day to try to start to engage these muscles that are likely very dormant right now. And it's very hard to develop a muscle that you do not have a good mind-muscle connection with, or you don't have good neurological connection with. So being able to do something as simple as this and work on the quality of every repetition. It's not meant to go like this and just swing it around. That's not going to do anything for you. You're trying to build up good neuromuscular control of a muscle that you don't have good control of right now. Second thing you want to do, if you want to recreate the benefit of the second exercise, hitting that glute medius from that other posterior angle, then what you want to do is get yourself squared up into the pole, just like I did when I was on the floor, a little bit more square to the floor. Get the foot behind me, so it starts right about behind the heel, like this. And this time, I'm going to be lifting it behind me, but rotating the foot as much as I can. It becomes pretty challenging for a lot of people, because again, they don't have that good connection, or they don't have a lot of mobility there, but it will improve over time. So as I swing the leg back behind me, behind midline here, and then rotate as much as I can, you'll really feel that area light up again. And I'm just trying to keep myself square to the pole here so that I don't turn with it too much and just lift and turn it into a hip flexor move again. Remember, I don't want to turn this into a hip flexor move. We got to get that rotational component and lift with abduction to make sure that we're isolating that glute medius. And again, one set each day is going to do a lot. Again, working both sides. But now let's say you've woken that up, you've got better control of the glute medius. How can you now take advantage of that to get more out of the strength training component in the exercises that do a great job of hitting both to allow for bigger glutes or more glute development? So now, separate from those activation drills, let's say you have aspirations to get a bigger ass, right? You want the bigger, more well-developed glutes. This is how you would do it. You got to add a little bit of weight, right? And just a single dumbbell is going to allow you to do this. But it's choosing the right exercises and then doing them the right way, as is often the case. So how you do this, or one of my favorite ways to do this, is with an offset reverse dumbbell lunge, okay? And why we go reverse, number one, is because it just helps to alleviate some of that pain that we get in the knee when we lunge forward. A lot of people complain about knee pain when they lunge forward. We're not gonna have to worry about that because we're gonna lunge backwards. Now, if you're going to lunge back, the leg that goes back is the leg that you wanna have the dumbbell in. Okay, the hand that you want to have the dumbbell in. So if I'm going to lunge back this way, it's that left hand that's going to be holding the dumbbell. And again, how I point my torso is going to make all the difference in the world. So usually people go straight up and down with the torso like this, but that's going to focus more of the effort on the quads. If I want to light up the backside, I have to lean forward. Right? By leaning forward, I could turn just a little bit for you. By leaning forward, I've completely shifted this load primarily to the glutes. Right? So down and come up, okay? Stand up. Reverse, lean forward, keep that low back straight, just tilt the entire torso forward and come up. Now, what's that side benefit? First of all, good glute max development. You're going back and forth into hip extension here, and then extending the hip and squeezing through the butt on the way up. But we have that other benefit too, controlling the same frontal plane abduction that we were talking about in that leg swing. Because when I go down, this dumbbell wants to pull me in this way, right? Because offset, one side only. And what happens is the hip wants to slide out to that direction. The only way that I can work this glute medius is to keep the hip right where it's supposed to be, all right? So as I go down, and this wants to pull me down this way, keep this nice and tight, lean forward without that shift, come up out of it. That little move, just like this, is going to be an amazing way when you strengthen both the right and the left hip to get good glute development. Now, the next thing we could do is something called an RDL, but done in a very specific way. I want to go and lean towards the floor, let the other leg come up behind me. You might be getting a little bit of active hip extension on that side, but it's not really the focus. What you're trying to do is go down and then drive out through that down glute, okay? So in this position here, I'm going down to the floor and I'm going to drive out of it with good hip extension. But the same thing applies. Because the dumbbell's in that offset hand, it wants to pull me down. I can't let that happen. I have to keep this hip nice and stable here, straight down, pull through without it sliding out on me. This is a balance challenge as well. If you find it to be too difficult, balance-wise, put this foot back and just do it as a slight kickstand position. All right, so if I have this back here, slight kickstand, down, squeeze it through, drag the toe. Down, squeeze it through, and drag the toe. Just enough so that the balance is not the main issue. One more move here. We call this a frog press. This one targets the glute medius specifically because we're going to externally rotate the hips. Okay, so not a regular glute bridge, but one done from this externally rotated hip position. So when I put the dumbbell right here on my junk, right across here, and I lift up into that bridge, you can see that I'm favoring the glute medius because I've externally rotated the hips by putting the soles of my feet together and flat on the ground. This setup here will make the rest of this automatic by lifting straight up here. Again, squeeze, you'll feel it deep into that hip, deep into the glutes, underneath that glute max. It's a great complement to the other two exercises that had a heavy involvement from the glute max. And again, you go here all the way up, good full extension, couple of sets to failure to really work on developing. And again, you can overload this with heavier and heavier dumbbells. The idea here, guys, is the glute medius is a prime focus for all of you who are having any type of low back pain right now, any hip pain, or just underdeveloped glutes. And again, if you're already suffering from back pain, guys, I have a video that helps to target that glute medius specifically and some of the trigger points that occur when weakness is there. You can find that video here. It's helped over 40 million people. If you're looking for more glute exercise you can do, I ranked over 15 of them in this one video for you here. All right, guys, make sure you subscribe, turn on notifications so you don't miss a video when we put one out. All right, guys, see you soon.